Welcome to Practical Trouble, where we give you the tools to make the world a better place, one concrete action at a time.
I'm Lindsay. I'm a metallurgist, and I started volunteering in politics in 2013. And I just want to make the world a better place.
And I'm Frank. I'm an entrepreneur and computer programmer and general nerd. I also want to make the world a better place. So, Lindsay, why do you think we can do this?
For starters, we care. We care about people and democracy, about stopping fascism, to be blunt. And we want to do something that matters. We're both scientists, so we're constantly looking for better answers, for evidence of what we're doing is working, that we're being practical.
Our name is Practical Trouble, after all.
That's right. The first thing that really connected us on this issue was a local organization that was holding a vigil for democracy. We were both wondering how effective that was going to be, and we realized we had very different ideas of what the intent even was. Without knowing the intent, there's no way we could determine how much of an impact the event had, even if we were going to try.
Right. So we both saw that there's a lot of activism theater out there where people are doing things for the sake of doing something, but without any clear connection between what they're doing and how it's actually going to make things better. We applaud the desire to do something. We're not going to bust on anybody who gets up off their butt and does something, but we want it to actually have an impact.
Would you say that people are doing useless things?
Why, yes, I would.
And how do we feel about useless things?
We don't like useless things. Don't do useless things. They're no good. I mean, I do it. I get on Twitter and I troll Dr. Oz about how he's a snake oil salesman and a carpetbagger, but that's not really doing any good. I don't think he's losing sleep over my tweets. I do it anyway, but it's not good.
And we disagree on this a little bit sometimes about what actually counts as a useless thing. There can be personal value in doing some things. Tweets can be an outlet. Maybe you might, connect with somebody new. But the concern is when it stops right there. And we fully understand that different people have different abilities, interests, opportunities, time. But the basic idea,
don't do useless things.
Don't do them. And I do want to bring up here that Frank and I are both straight, cis, white Americans, not rich, but certainly comfortable. And we both have a lot of privilege in our lives. That does influence how we think about things, what we can do. And we want to be very mindful of that. We're going to work to elevate marginalized folks and check our own privilege as we go. And I sincerely want everyone listening to hold us to that.
Right. And we recognize that we're in a lucky class, but we want to use what power we have, what influence and positions we have to try to help everyone. So that's why we're doing this podcast. We don't have a financial stake. There are a lot of consultants out there who have a vested interest in the political system and getting people to do things their way. So we're not doing that. This isn't our day job. But, Lindsay, if we're not trying to get their money, what are our goals?
So we don't want to just point out problems and have you walk away with nothing but rage. Right? We're looking for this to be action-oriented and we want to stress strategic long-term thinking. We're going to try and keep each episode short and come out on a regular basis. Each one will have a theme, we'll introduce evidence, and come up with one or more concrete actions you can do to try and make the world a better place.
That's right. Every week you can expect exciting actions that will oust corrupt government officials, immediately bring about peace and justice for all, make ice cream.
No.
Okay, fine. So look, some of these actions are just going to be boring. Some of them are going to seem mundane and obvious, but we got to do them. I mean, progress is slow, but you can't make progress by just saying it's too slow, so I'm not going to do it. And I look at the problem of fascism and autocracy and the general lack of responsiveness of government in general as a gigantic stone wall that's in our face. It's a giant concrete edifice that looks daunting and impermeable, and we're never going to knock it down. And yeah, it would be ideal if we had like 1 billion pounds of dynamite or a giant wrecking ball and we could just take it down in 1 or 2 big smacks. But the reality is most of us do not have those resources available to us. So what can we do? You don't want to just stand there and go, oh, that's a big wall. Oh, well, when it's, a terrible wall, it's doing terrible things to our world. So if you've got a pickaxe, you get the pickaxe. But the reality is one little pickaxe isn't going to take that whole thing down. And maybe you don't even have a pickaxe. Maybe you've only got a sharpened spoon. So you get some friends. You get some friends with pickaxes. Maybe one guy's got a jackhammer. Maybe that other person over there, she's got a fantastically sharpened spoon. You get all the tools you can together. You all work on it together, and you recognize that it's not going to happen with one quick swing of the pickaxe or the jackhammer. It's going to take consistent, long-term work. And that's what we try to do together.
One of the biggest challenges facing us is that the wall is so massive and so hard to envision coming down. The work just feels so futile and often lonely. So part of what we want to help you realize is that you don't have to work alone, that it's not futile, And the only way that the wall is going to come down is through a constant, multifaceted effort by entire communities of people. Just by choosing us, you're joining a community. And hopefully you'll be able to go out in the world and find more communities to help you break down other parts of the wall.
Right. So we're going to try to cover a wide variety of actions, working in the system, working out of the system, electoral, community, and even some of the internal work that some of us might have to do to adjust our attitude to the world out there and understand what's going on and how to address it. We want you to get something out of this in both the short term and the long term.
Well, we are both liberal. This isn't a liberal podcast per se. We are trying to make the world a better place for everyone, not just the select few. We have a lot of goals: ending homelessness, stopping climate change, more flavors of ice cream, a whole lot of all of the things. But not one of those goals involves someone being treated as less than. If that's not your idea of saving the world, then this isn't the podcast for you. We're not going to get into all the details of climate change or why people deserve rights over their own uteruses, but we are going to try and explore what you can do to make a difference to protect trans kids, voting rights, whatever is coming up in your community. This is a collaborative effort. We don't want this to be a one-way thing. Let us know what we're doing right, what we need to work on, if there's someone out there doing things that we should know about.
So that brings us to the end of this very first introductory episode. As we start rolling these out, you can find them at our Practical Trouble channel on YouTube. And you can also talk to us directly on Twitter at Practical Trub, which is Practical Trouble without the LE because Twitter doesn't let us have enough letters. Now, don't go away. We're going to roll right into our second episode.